Hi everyone, Mrs. Lopez here. All right, so we're going to continue on with otherwise known as Sheila the Great. We are going to begin on chapter 4, and we are going to read 3 chapters in this one. So here we go, chapter 4. The next day I meet Mouse Ellis. She is also 10 and going into 5th grade. I was sitting on the front steps wondering what to do until it was time to go and register for day camp. Then I saw this girl walking up the road. I watched until she got to the front of my house. She looked at me and waved. I waved back. She came up to our driveway and over to where I was sitting. She held up a purple yo-yo. "I'm Mouse Ellis, junior champion of Tarrytown," she said. "I can do 11 different tricks without stopping. How many can you do?" I never stopped to count, I told her. She opened her eyes very wide and offered her yo-yo. "Go ahead and show me," she said. "I don't feel like it." "I'll bet you can't do shotgun 6 times in a row." "I'll bet I can," I told her. "Okay, let's see you do it then." "After you," I said. "Okay." Mouse wound up her yo-yo, held it close to her hip, and the next thing I knew, out it flew right at me 6 times in a row. "Very good," I said. She handed me her yo-yo. I examined it all over. "It's a Duncan Imperial," she told me. "The very best yo-yo made." "It's not bad," I said. "I'm ready anytime you are," Mouse said. I stood up, held the yo-yo at my hip, threw it out, and whacked myself in the head on my first try. "Hey, are you okay?" Mouse asked. "Oh, sure," I told her, "but I guess I'll have to tell you the truth now. I didn't want to hurt your feelings before, but where I come from, yo-yos are for babies. I haven't done shotgun for about 8 years now. That's why I missed." Mouse looked at me for a while, and I gave her one of my best stares right back. Then she sat down next to me and said, "You'll never know how glad I am that you moved in for the summer. I am so sick of those Egrin boys." I couldn't help smiling. She wouldn't have stayed if she didn't believe I really was a yo-yoer when I was a little kid. "I'm sleeping in one of the Egrin boys' bedrooms," I said, "and guess what I found in the desk?" "What?" Mouse asked. 6 tubes of Tester's glue and 27 jars of model paint. Mouse laughed. "You must have Bobby's room. He's a model maniac." "He left a note for me," I said. "He signed it B.E. "That's Bobby. He wrote that if I touch any of his models, he'll get me someday." "Ha ha," Mouse said. "He's all talk." "That's what I figured. Anyway, who'd want to fool around with his dumb old models?" "Not me," Mouse said. "I've got better things to do." "Me too. Say, is your real name Mouse?" "No, it's Merle, but everybody calls me Mouse." "You better watch out," I said. "My father's name is really Bertram, but everybody still calls him Buzz." "Well, I don't care if people call me Mouse forever. I like it a whole lot better than Merle. And if you ask me, Buzz is much better than Bertram. Bertram sounds awful. Nothing against your father, of course." "I didn't mean that I don't like your nickname," I said, "as long as you like to be called Mouse. Personally, I think it's a very nice name. It's much better than Sheila." "If you don't like Sheila, you should call yourself something else," Mouse said. "Like what?" I asked. "Oh, maybe Sugar or Sunny or something like that." "I don't like Sugar," I said, "but Sunny sounds pretty good. Sunny Tubman. Yeah, I kind of like that." "Okay, then that's what I'll call you from now on," Mouse said. I told Mouse about Libby and how she says mother and father and pretends to be very grown up. And Mouse told me about her little sister Betsy, who still wets the bed every night. We found out we were both going to the same day camp and the same pool. In a little while, Mouse stood up and started to yo-yo again, and I could see why she is the junior champion of Tarrytown. While she was showing me her tricks, I noticed that her legs were a mess of scabs. I hoped they weren't catching. She must have seen me looking because she said, "They're leftover mosquito bites. I scratch them until they bleed and then I get scabs. Aren't they ugly?" I didn't tell her the truth. I said, "They're not so bad." When Mouse was done with her yo-yo tricks, she said, "Let's take Jennifer for a walk." "Jennifer the dog, you mean?" "Yes, the Egrins always let me walk her. I love dogs." I never make friends with dog lovers. "Do you have one at your house?" I asked, thinking I might as well find out the truth right away. There was no point in getting to like her if it was all for nothing. No, Mouse said. Betsy is allergic to them. She gets hives from dogs. What a great idea. Why didn't I think of saying that? Me too, I told Mouse. I get awful hives from them. You wouldn't believe how big my hives are. They'll make your scabs look practically invisible. They're so huge. Oh, rats, Mouse said. I was hoping you and me could take care of Jennifer all summer. I'm really sorry, I said. Oh, that's okay. I guess I'd rather have a girlfriend than a dog. I was very happy to hear that. We walked down the road to her house then. Mouse yo-yoed all the way. She lives at the bottom of the hill, right around the corner from the swimming pool. Her little sister was out front dragging a candy box by a string. That's Betsy, Mouse said. She's 4. Why does she have a string around that box? She's walking her dog. That box is her dog, I asked. Yes, I told you how she gets hives from real ones, so that box is her pretend dog. She calls it Ooch. Betsy dragged Ooch over to us. Who are you? She asked. I'm Sonny Tubman, I told her, trying out my new name. Oh, you don't look like a boy, Betsy said. She's not a boy, Mouse told her. Then how come her name is Sonny? S-O-N-N-Y. It's not that kind of sunny, Mouse explained. It's sunny, like the sun in the sky. Oh, Betsy said. Sunny like a sunny day? That's it, Mouse said. My real name is Sheila, I said to Betsy. Maybe you should just call me that. I didn't think about Sunny sounding like Sunny. Maybe it wasn't a good name after all. Betsy said, this is my dog Ooch. Want to pet him? Oh, sure. I reached over and tapped the candy box. Nice, doggy, I said. Nice, Ooch. Betsy picked up her box and held it to her ear. Then she put it back down and said, Ooch says he likes you, Sonny Sheila. He can always tell a person who really and truly loves dogs. I didn't say anything. I just smiled. Mrs. Ellis invited me to stay for lunch. I called home and Mom said I could. Me and Mouse ate peanut butter sandwiches with the crust cut off, and Betsy had 4 slices of plain salami. No bread or anything. She keeps Ooch on the table next to her, and every few minutes she made believe she was feeding some of her salami to that box. Ooch loves salami, she told me. It's his favorite lunch. That afternoon, our mothers took us to the Cultural Arts Center to register for day camp. It is really a private school, but it doesn't look anything like one. It looks like an old house surrounded by lots and lots of big trees. I have never seen a school like that, Mouse told me that she doesn't go there. She goes to regular public school, but Bobby Egrin had been going there for years. That's because Bobby refused to do any of his work in public school. All he wanted to do was build models. And since the teachers wouldn't let him, he used to get mad and make a lot of noise. So he was spending most of his time sitting on the bench outside the principal's office. At this school, he is allowed to build all kinds of things, Mouse says her mother told her Bobby is some kind of genius, but she doesn't believe it. Mouse and I explored our day camp together. This is her first year too because she was just 10, which means me and Mouse will be the 2 of the youngest kids there. This makes Libby feel like a double big shot. I told Mouse that Libby thinks she's a great ballerina, but when she dances, she really looks like an elephant. Well, not exactly an elephant, but only because she is too skinny to be one. There are a lot of interesting activities at this day camp, but the one that looks best to me is pottery. You get to use a lot of mushy clay and you try to shape it into some kind of bowl on a pottery wheel. Me and Mouse signed up for that first thing. The pottery counselor's name is Denise. She was barefoot. I like to go barefoot too, but I'm afraid I might step on a bee and get stung. That happened to Peter Hatcher's little brother once. I think getting stung on the bottom of your foot would be worse than getting stung somewhere ordinary like your arm. I wonder if Denise has ever stepped on a bee. When we got home, Mouse asked me to go swimming with her. She said, "What's your best stroke?" "Mine's the crawl." "I'm the same at every stroke," I said. "Then maybe you'll join the swimming team. We have races every Sunday." She didn't understand what I meant, I guess. So I said, "No, I really don't like swimming teams. They take all the fun out of it." "Well, grab your suit and let's go over anyway. It's steaming out." "I can't go today," I said. I wasn't about to tell her I can't swim. "Why? Can't you go in?" she asked. "I'm just getting over a cold." Oh, rats, you don't sound sick. Ask your mother. I can't, I said. I promised I wouldn't go in today. Can you even dunk your feet? Mouse asked. That didn't sound bad, and it was hot out. Okay, I said. I guess dunking my feet can't hurt me. I'll go in and get my suit. But just then my mother came out and said, Sheila, we have to go over to the pool now. I want to sign you up for some swimming lessons. It's time you learned how to swim. Mouse opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Chapter 5. How could you do that to me? I asked my mother. When we were alone. I'm sorry, Mom said. I didn't know she thought you could swim. You just spoiled my whole summer. Oh, really, Sheila? Let's not make a big thing out of it. Just when she wanted to be my friend, my first real-life girlfriend, and you had to go and ruin everything. Well, I'm never going to learn how to swim, so there. You have to, like it or not, Mom said. Otherwise, it isn't safe for you to go near water. Then I'll never go near water. Then you don't have to worry. Daddy and I have discussed it, and we have both agreed that you must learn to swim, even if it takes all summer. And that's that. You can't make me, I cried. Sheila, you're being unreasonable. Daddy and I try very hard to be understanding. We don't force you to go near Jennifer. We know how you feel about spiders, and when you hear noises in the middle of the night, we try to find out what's causing them. But we are going to insist that you learn to swim. I'll sink, I said. They'll find me on the bottom of the pool, and that will be the end of me. I don't think that will happen, Mom said. Now get in the car. Mom tooted the horn, and Libby came running out of the house. She was wearing her bikini. She looked like a skeleton. Can we take Jennifer with us? Libby said. No, I said. I'm not asking you. Can we, Mom? I'll bet she's dying for a little ride in the car. You promised, I reminded my mother. Better leave her home, Libby, Mom said. Some people spoil all the fun, Libby snapped. There are people who get hives from dogs, I told Libby. Did you ever think of that? But you don't. I think I do. You're a liar, Libby yelled. Isn't she a liar, Mom? What do you mean you think you get hives from dogs? Mom asked me. I do. I get them inside where you can't see them. But I know they're there. I'm positive I'm allergic to dogs. Oh, Sheila, my mom said. Jennifer stood up and barked then. I'm sure she was laughing at me. I hate that dumb old dog. Libby sulked all the way to the pool because Mom told her Jennifer had to stay home. She said, this has nothing to do with me. It was just that there was probably a rule about bringing animals to the pool. I don't think Libby believed Mom, but she seemed to forget about it when we got there. The swimming pool is round at the deep end and curved at the other. My mother says it's a kidney shaped. I wonder if my kidneys are shaped like that. When I get home, I will look it up in my encyclopedia and find out. There are 2 diving boards. One is up high and the other one is medium. Each family has a tiny dressing room with their name on the door. Ours says Egrin. I asked, couldn't we put up a little sign that says Tubman just for the summer? I felt silly using the Egrin's dressing room. I kept thinking about those 3 boys. So my mother let me put Scotch tape Tubman over Egrin so at least people know who we are. Libby doesn't care about going to the beach anymore because the pool is full of boys. Besides the lifeguards and the pool boys who work there, plenty of other boys come just to swim. My sister in her new bikini thinks she is the greatest. But after she saw my swimming teacher, she asked my mother to sign her up for lessons too. My teacher, Marty, is what Libby calls terrific. I do not care one way or the other what my swimming teacher looks like because I don't ever want to swim. I know I won't be able to. I know I will sink to the bottom and everyone will laugh and Marty will have to save me. I told him this right off when my mother signed me up for 15 private lessons. I'll never be able to swim, I said. Sure you will, Marty told me. No, I mean it. I won't. Anybody can learn to swim, Marty said. Well, I'm never going to put my face in the water. I'll tell you that. Sure you will. It's easy. There's nothing to be afraid of. Afraid? Me? Is that what you think? Marty just smiled. I'm not afraid of anything, I told him. Nothing. I just think it's dumb of my mother to waste her money on swimming lessons. Because if I felt like it, I could jump right in and swim as good as anybody. That's great, Marty said. Tomorrow you can show me how you do that. I didn't answer him. That night, Libby begged my parents for swimming lessons. You swim very well now, Mom told her. But think of all Marty could teach me, Libby said. You don't need him to teach you anything, Daddy told her. Now that's that. Sheila gets all the good things, Libby cried. It's not fair. You can have my lessons, I said, all 15 of them. But Daddy and Mom said, oh no, together. The next afternoon, I told Mom that I had an awful stomachache and I couldn't possibly go to the pool. She gave me a spoon of pink peppermint stuff and told me I'd be fine in a few minutes. When we got to the pool, I told her I had a sore throat and that people with sore throats shouldn't go swimming. Mom said it was probably just an allergy to the trees. Since when am I allergic to trees? I told her that I forgot my bathing cap, so I wouldn't be able to put my head in the water. But she pulled out a new cap and said she brought one along just in case. And then she delivered me to Marty. He was sitting at the shallow end of the pool. I don't feel very well, I told him. You're just nervous, he said. Me? Nervous? That's very funny. I never get nervous. Good. Glad to hear that. It's much easier to work with a relaxed person than a nervous one. Do nervous people sink in the water, I asked. Oh, sometimes, Marty said, but I haven't lost more than 3 or 4. I stepped away from him. Hey, that's a joke, Sheila. I know, I said. Don't you think I know a joke when I hear one? Come and sit down at the edge of the pool, Marty said, lowering himself into the water. I'll get wet first. I wish there weren't so many people around. If I had to take lessons, why couldn't I take them in the middle of the night when nobody could see me? Now the first thing I'm going to do is show you how to blow bubbles. Watch this. Marty put his face into the water and big bubbles came up. Soon he raised his head and said, See? You just blow bubbles. It's a cinch. I told you, I said. I'm not putting my face into the water. I can't teach you to swim if you won't. Well then, I guess you won't be able to teach me. I stood up and started to walk away. Wait a minute, Sheila. Marty reached out and grabbed my ankle. Get wet first before you make up your mind. My mind is made up, I said. Well, get wet anyway. I might get fired if you don't at least get wet. I didn't want Marty to lose his job because of me, so I walked down 3 steps and stood in the water up to my waist. It's too cold for me, I said. I'll get pneumonia or something. I'm getting out. Sheila, this pool must be 80 degrees today. You're not going to catch anything. Marty scooped me up and started walking around the pool with me. I said, put me down. You put me down right now or I'll scream. If you do, everybody will hear and look over to see what's going on. Is that what you want? I think he's a mind reader. I hate him. What are you going to do with me? I asked. Nothing. I just want you to get used to the water and to see that I'm not going to let anything happen to you. If I drown, you're going to be in big trouble. You're not going to drown. I already told you that. And once you learn how to swim, you'll be able to save yourself so there won't be anything for you to worry about. Who says I'm worried? I never worry, I said. That's swell, Marty told me. Did you mean it when you said if I learn to swim, I'll be able to save myself? Yes, Marty said. Well, as long as I'm here, I guess I might as well. So go ahead, teach me. But remember, I won't put my face in the water. Marty sighed. All right, I'll teach you with your face out of the water. But you said you couldn't teach me that way. Well, I just remembered I can. I'll teach you to swim like a dog. I don't want to swim like a dog, I said. I don't even like dogs. Maybe you'll like them when you learn how to swim like one, Marty said, smiling. He gave me a kickboard. He taught me how to hang on with my hands and kick with my legs. At first, I wasn't even a good kicker. I only used one leg. I kept the other one on the bottom of the pool because I felt safer that way. I was hoping I could fool Marty into thinking I was using both of them. But it didn't work. He said, that's not bad, Sheila, but this time, let's use both feet, okay? So for the first time in my life, I took both feet off the bottom of the pool and I kicked. And I didn't sink. But I knew that was because I was hanging on to the kickboard. If I didn't have that, I'd be on the bottom in a second. My lesson lasted half an hour. And all I had to do was practice kicking. When it was over, I told Marty it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. He said he'd see me tomorrow, same time. I ran over to my mother and she said she was proud of me, even though I didn't put my face in. I told her Marty said I didn't have to, and that I'd never have to because he was going to teach me to swim like a dog And dogs are very good swimmers. Everyone knows that. My mother looked at me funny and said, well, you and Jennifer have something in common after all, don't you? But I didn't answer because I heard someone calling, Sunny Sheila Tubman, Sunny Sheila Tubman, watch this. I looked up at the high diving board and saw Betsy Ellis. And if Betsy was at the pool, Mouse probably was too. Did she see me in the water with Marty? I hope not. But I guess now she won't be my friend anyway. So what's the difference if she did see me? Betsy called me one more time. Then she did a perfect dive into the water. I couldn't believe it. Did you see that? I asked my mother. She's only 4 years old. Beautiful, wasn't it? I hear she's a champion swimmer. I don't see her anywhere, I said, searching the pool. Do you suppose she's all right? Shouldn't she be up by now? There she is. She swam right across under the water. I wondered if Marty could teach me to swim like that. I could just see myself as a swimming champion. I would learn to do the most beautiful dives anyone ever saw. I would be able to swim back and forth in the pool at least 20 times without running out of breath. Mom would beg me to be her friend. Mouse would beg me to be her friend. People from all over the world would come to watch me on Sundays, and Marty would tell them she's remarkable. She couldn't swim at all when she first came here. And of course, I would be able to do everything without ever getting my face wet. I'll bet there isn't a dog anywhere who can dive without getting his face wet. That night after, chapter 6. That night after supper, the doorbell rang. I'll get it, I hollered, running to see who it was. It was Mouse. Hi, she said, come on out. I opened the screen door and stepped outside onto the front porch. How was your swimming lesson? She asked. It was fine. I used to do a lot of swimming when I was little, but Mouse didn't let me finish. But where you came from, nobody ever goes swimming, right? Kind of, I said. If a person doesn't know how to do something, a person should just admit it. Don't you think? Mouse said. Oh, sure, I told her. If there was something I couldn't do, I'd be the first to admit it. Me too, Mom said. Like, for instance, I can't turn cartwheels. I've tried and tried, but I can't get my legs up straight. Now, what can't you do? Oh, I can't turn cartwheels either. At least I don't think I can. I've never even tried. Try now, Mouse said. Now? What for? Just to see if you can or can't. I can't. I'm sure I can't. Okay, there's another thing I can't do. Mouse said, I can't do a backflip into the pool. Neither can I told her, because you can't swim, right? Well, I don't swim much and I don't dive at all. Hold on just a second. Trey! That's right, I can't dive at all. I brought you something. You did? Yes. She reached into her pocket and held up a green yo-yo. She handed it to me. It's a genuine Duncan Imperial, the very best there is. Thanks. I turned it over and read what it said. I haven't had a yo-yo in ages. Since you were about 2, right? That's right. Tell you what, Mouse said, since you don't remember much about working it, how would it be if I taught you how to do tricks? Well, I really don't need lessons because I'll probably remember how to do all my old tricks as soon as I practice a little. But if you want to show me your way, I wouldn't mind. Good, Mouse said. We'll start tomorrow. I've got to go home now. My mother doesn't like me walking around in the dark. Mouse turned and started down the front walk. I was already planning how I'd be able to tell the kids in the city that my own private yo-yo teacher was none other than the junior champion of Terrytown herself. The next day, I asked Marty if he could teach me to dive like Betsy Ellis, but without getting my face wet. He said, impossible. And the more I thought about it, the more I knew he was right. So I said we'd have to forget about diving. Marty asked me how I planned to get into the pool when I learned to swim, and I told him, down the ladder, same as getting out. I spent 3 more days just practicing how to kick. Then Marty decided it was time to learn what to do with my arms. He held me in the water and told me to move them back and forth. I was so scared I held on to Marty with one arm and only moved the other. He said that was okay, that he had plenty of time, 2 months if necessary, because my mother told him not to rush me. She didn't want me to get more afraid than I already was, and she said she would pay for lessons all summer if she had to, because she had a feeling that 15 lessons weren't going to be enough. But I'd better know how to swim by then or she'd want her money back. And Marty had promised her I would. He really needs the money for college, she told me, like I shouldn't let him down. So I said, okay, and I tried letting go of him. He kept his hand under me so I wouldn't get scared and stop trying. But whenever I used my arms, I forgot about my legs. And when I remembered and started to kick, I forgot about using my arms. I think Marty almost gave up on me today. After my lesson, I joined Mouse and some of the other kids. The thing I hate most is when one kid dunks another. The only way to avoid that is to stay out of the water, which is what I do. Mouse says everyone knows that I'm a beginner and no one would dunk me, but I'm not so sure. Libby has a crush on a lifeguard named Freddie. He has very hairy legs. Libby said he is the most terrific boy she'd ever met, but Libby says that about every boy she meets. She hangs around his lifeguard chair all afternoon, and when he is off duty, she runs to get him a soda. My mother says he is much too old for her and she should find some friends her own age. Then Libby cries, "But Mother, he's only 17 and I'm practically 14 and that's just perfect." But Mother doesn't think so. And she says if Libby keeps pestering him, he could lose his job. The Sunday after Mom said that, Freddie brought a friend to the pool. She sat next to his lifeguard chair all afternoon. She is much older than Libby. I would say she's at least 16, and she doesn't look like a skeleton in her bikini either. Now, Libby stays away from Freddie. She says she never really liked him anyway, and who wants a boyfriend with all that hair on his legs? Ha ha, I said. Libby gave me a kick. And that's the end of chapter 6. Stay tuned for chapters, I believe, 7, 8, and 9 are next. Have a great day. Bye.